Your girl can't stay feminine if you're constantly challenging her. So, if the female has to constantly defend herself, if she's constantly being challenged, if she is being demanded of an aggressive way, or making you come out of this calm, beautiful, feminine mode, that is a red flag. But it doesn't mean you have to leave him right away. You actually still have some time to train him if he's willing to grow with you. Today, we're going to talk about something that might cause some disagreement. This may be a boys versus girl thing. You need to understand the dynamics of a relationship and how a female can really radiate her feminine energy and be in her best manifestation power, and how a male can actually bring a lot of abundance into their family just by respecting and honoring that feminine energy. Whether you are with a partner that you want to grow with or you want to attract the right partner, this feminine energy that you need to radiate has to be on point all the time. So that means self awareness, not just of yourself, what you say, what you do, and how you act, but how others treat you and what they're expecting of you. A man can either support this feminine energy, they can support their female, or they can actually force her right out of the relationship. Now, when a woman walks around exhausted, frustrating, trying to control everything, trying to solve every problem that arises, if she has a partner, that means that the partner is lacking leadership. They are lacking this trait that the female needs in order for her to relax, become in her receptive rest mode, and radiate that feminine energy, radiate that softness. Because if she has to constantly solve the next problem, if she's already expecting the next issue to arise, that is probably because the man is not doing his part to protect her from these issues, to protect her from this demanding energy, right? Maybe he's not supporting her. Maybe he is challenging her. Maybe he is defensive whenever she is trying to create growth in the relationship. Now, this masculine and feminine energy doesn't always mean that a female can't be driven, that she's incapable of working, making money, leadership, solving problems, protecting herself, making decisions. It just means that there's a real dynamic, and some partnerships can become very polaric in that way. So if the female has already always been driven, always been motivated, always been working, and the man comes in, he also works, but not very inspired or motivated, there kind of becomes this dynamic where in the relationship, the man is just used to always doing the bare minimum, just going to work, just providing that. And the female has been used to always overcompensating, always doing the most, always being motivated, inspired, wanting more from the relationship or from her life in general. And so it can create a dynamic where they both become comfortable. One person is shining, using her gifts, doing all of the things, right? And then the man just kind of does the bare minimum, just goes to work, just shows up at home, rests from work, doesn't do anything extra. It's going to cause burnout eventually. Even if the female is super productive, super successful, and is bringing in a lot of money, it's going to create resentment in the relationship as well, right? Because a lot of times these men, they will leave their job in order to help the female with her endeavors. And if he's not picking up all the slack that he needs to, all the cooking, all taking care of the kids all the time, and not arguing with the female, then that works. But a lot of times it doesn't, because the man gets a little bit tired of being at home. The man can get a little bit lazy, lets the woman take over by getting all the groceries or making sure that everybody eats and stuff. And she's already doing the work to get the finances in order, all the ideas, making the plans, maybe even for the children, making plans. And all he's doing is taking care of them, warming some stuff up, maybe not even cleaning to his fullest potential. There's always going to be resentment. So when you have the man making the money, which it doesn't always have to be like this, but this is a good idea of what you can shoot for, even if it's not exactly to this T. But when the man goes to work and does all that and provides for the family, and then the female doesn't have to go and work 8 hours, maybe they can find a part time job that isn't really needed of them, but it helps. They can get out of the house, they can have their individuality, their independence, but then they still have enough energy to come home and take care of other things, right? Or maybe she does have like a 6 7 hour shift, and it's not that demanding, so she can still come home and provide the food for the family, the care, the groceries, the planning, maybe taking the kids to sports or something like that. That's a healthy dynamic because, let's just say 50% the income and the bills and all of the money that really stresses people out is being taken care of by the man. But that's why the man should take care of himself as much as he can, even within the house. Because let's just say the man throws his toilet paper in the trash and it doesn't make it inside the trash. Is he going to pick it up? Is he going to make sure that that area is clean? Or does he depend on the woman or the female to do it? And if she already goes and makes some kind of money, she shouldn't have to pick up your dirty toilet paper. Like there needs to be an awareness, a dynamic of, my woman shouldn't have to do this all the time. She shouldn't have to be like this because that's demanding masculine energy from her. If she always has to be on her toes, always has to be, looking for the next problem and solving it, then, there becomes resentment, there becomes resistance, there becomes an imbalance. So if the man can just own in on his own responsibilities within the home and help her out a little bit, not just come home from work and then let her pick up all the shoes and the dirty socks and wash all the clothes and then you just go to sleep and just go to work. If work is their only priority, and then they're doing the bare minimum. Because also if they're not planning, if they're not taking care of the money and relieving that stress from the female, then there's an imbalance there because it's just like you're just doing the bare minimum. I could do that. I could live at home with my mom, just go to work, just come home and then not do much at home. Let her do all the cleaning, let her do all the organizing and the grocery shopping. Then you see how this imbalance starts to happen and the resentment starts to happen. It doesn't have to be a male and female partnership. It doesn't have to be this, perfect exact dynamic where the roles are precisely always rolled out and you stay in that role. Sometimes we have to help each other out, right? Sometimes the man has to go and do a little bit more because maybe the female is hurt. Maybe she's in her monthly cycle where she's just going through a tough one. Maybe she has to do something and, care for her family at some point. If the man is not wanting to pick up the slack, not wanting to balance out that dynamic, then there becomes resentments and there becomes that imbalance. So taking accountability is really key, especially for a man, because sometimes they become defensive. They want to be controlling. They almost don't even allow the female to be in any superior role. That is very misogynistic, so that's unhealthy when the man just doesn't even want the woman to go get a job, like he forbids her for even like leaving the house to do fun things. That is masculine. That is too masculine. It's too controlling. It's imbalanced. And you're not allowing the female to just be herself, to be in the receptive role, to be in her, most glow state, because then you're like taking from her. You're taking freedom away from her. You're taking, her sense of identity or self-expression away from her. When a man is taking that away from a woman, then it depletes her of her, he's taking the feminine energy away from her basically, right? Kind of destroying it, breaking it down in a way, and it causes her to be more masculine and have to, you know, do things or say certain things that she can't depend on the man to do because he either doesn't want to, he's not responsible, he's not accountable. And that's really important in a relationship, is that the female trust that the man can do what he says he's going to do, right? If the female can't trust the man, then, there's an imbalance there. The man also has to be able to trust the female, right? If he wants to allow her to go out and express herself or be with friends, go out and spend like a week with her family, he needs to be able to trust her. So, you yourself have to ask, if you're in a relationship, can you be trusted? Right? If you're going to be with somebody who depends on you for either emotional connection, some physical connection, whatever, the soulmate energy, just the love connection, the romantic side of things, then you need to ask yourself, can you be trusted? Are you a partner that holds their own, or at least, their portion of things? And if you slack, if you deflect, if you blame, if you're that type of partner, then you are not doing your part. You are actually asking for your partner to make up for your lack of there, basically. And so understanding the roles and knowing that there is a responsibility between each person, and those roles can shift depending on your environment, depending on where you are in life and what things that you are going through, right? Like, can they be there for you 100? If you're getting sick all the time, is that going to cause them to leave? right? To leave you because now they need to make up for your lack because you're sick and they have to do things that they didn't have to do before because you're sick. If they're going to complain about these things and not take accountability for it and not desire to like take them off your plate just for a short term period, that's a red flag. A lot of times we have to make up for the lack of our partner in certain situations, but as long as it's short term, that's not a problem. When one person becomes complacent and then now it's a long-term thing, like, and hey, my partner stopped helping me with the dishes and now they're like never going to do the dishes, then that's a problem because like maybe there's just one night where I just need extra rest. Maybe I want to go to sleep a little bit early. Like, can you take care of it? And if neither one takes care of it, that's okay. But like if I need you again to do something and then you just keep on not doing it, then you're complacent, right? Whoever the partner could be, it could be female or male. um so like maybe the male needs something from maybe the male, if the female doesn't work or doesn't, have to do all that, maybe she doesn't even like provide a healthy good lunch. Like maybe she just has them like eating, burritos from the freezer all the time. Like, and then she's at home just watching TV half her day, just taking care of her own, you can call them like gluttonous needs, right? So when you're overindulging in something, but then you're like not being aware of your partner's needs and you're like, just forget it. And that becomes a long term habit. That's unhealthy. It's okay to go through some type of depression. When I lost my grandma, I was not the same for like about 3 months, like some things in the day weren't getting done, right? And it was okay because he knew I was mourning. Yes, he would bring it up, but I'd play my part and be like, hey, I'm still kind of mourning. But after the 3 months, like 3 months is like my tops. Like I don't do anything that is out of the ordinary for my, regular energy for more than 3 months. I mentioned this in my live video when I had my children. I had twins. I went back to work 3 months right after having them because I didn't want to be at home all the time. I just got a part-time job. 3 months after having them, I went back to my regular productive, like creative self, wanting to do things and all that and grow, right? So yes, finding a partner that really wants to grow with you, takes accountability, respects your needs, and also supports your creativity, supports the things that you like and you love. If they can do that, then that is a healthy relationship. And it doesn't matter whether you're man and man, woman and woman, man and female. You know what I mean? Like it's just we're here for each other and we can understand each other. And that's what creates a long-term healthy relationship is when you guys are both changing. Because if you're going to be the exact same from like 1 year after you got together when you first met, you're not going to grow a lot in life. There's going to be so much stagnation in your life, in your environment, that you're both going to be annoyed of each other and you're going to think finding another partner or another person is going to change your life, and it very much could. Like if the person that you're with doesn't want to grow, they don't want to learn anything, they don't want to adapt to the times, right? They don't want to surpass where they're at. That is going to get tiring. It's going to get draining. And it means that you might need to find someone who respects and honors growth, respects and honors who you are as an individual, right? And, that could be hard. But there's also ways to save your relationship and really help the other person understand that growth and needs, compassion, empathy, even balancing each other out in certain hard times, it's going to be needed in the relationship from both of you, not just from one person. Never make your relationship just one sided, where it's always the other person. If you are the one always blaming people, like when you go through things, even outside of your home, when you deal with people at work, when you deal with other external family members, with neighbors, look at your patterns. Look at what issues you're constantly getting yourself into that resemble the other things that you constantly get yourself into. What is your pattern? Are you always playing the blame game? Are you always the victim? Because there are some times where we do things that it is our fault. You got to take accountability because you won't grow, you won't learn, and you're just always going to be ignorant to the fact, right? So ignorance causes a lot of not restriction, friction in a relationship. Ignorance, so not knowing something, not wanting to know something, right? Or just speaking out of pure arrogance when you think you know something and you really don't. Like maybe you just overheard it somewhere, or maybe you just want to believe that to win the argument. That's arrogant. Like we don't need that. You can put your guard down, empathize, sympathize with the other person, and just hear what they have to say. Don't always defend yourself. First, literally get what they're trying to say, absorb what they're trying to say, observe their needs, identify the needs and the lack of, and the balance, the imbalance, and then you can move forward in your relationship. Like, you'll see a lot of blessings and you'll find a lot of not just growth and abundance in your relationship. You'll discover so many beautiful things that you would have never even imagined. Basically rewards, jewels, gems for just sticking together, keeping your family healthy, growing with your family, and dedicating yourself to them. Like having that devotion in life where you're just devoted to someone, where you are devoted to your family and the growth of their family. It really does pay off. It doesn't always pay off with like, monetary finances and stuff, but it will show in your life. Like you will see the good in your life. You will recognize the blessings. Maybe you'll have more freedom. Maybe you'll have, certain things that happen to you that get gifted to you from above because you are really honoring the energy of growth and light and love and understanding and connection and unity, right? Because that says it all. Like the Most High, whoever we want to call that created all this, is like it really rewards unity and staying together because we're all in on this. Even if we're doing it individually in our own homes, like we are all here living life. We are all here trying to figure it out. We are all going to eventually transition, right? And we all come here the same way. So much of just basic life connects us, and we know that we are supposed to be here together. And so understanding, recognizing that, being aware, bringing the awareness, getting rid of the ignorance and the arrogance is really going to help in anything that you do, even if it's not in a relationship, just in your own inner life and your own blessings and your own career moves and, just your self growth, right? Your value, your self value. It's all that stuff really comes full packaged when you practice this knowledge, and when you do what you say you're going to do, when you walk your talk, when you enlighten others and you keep yourself enlightened, and you're not being deceptive and you're not lying and you're not creating problems and false narratives. Like that stuff pays off. So that's how I really wanted to end the video, honestly, is whether you're in a relationship or not, just working on these life skills. It's really going to change your life no matter what. Alone, not alone, you'll attract the right partner when you truly need it, when you deserve it, when you are reflecting and radiating and honoring that frequency and that energy. It will come to you if it hasn't already. And yes, you can almost save anything, but I can't speak for everybody when I say that, because I haven't met someone that people who don't want to change for you, who don't want to sacrifice for you, who don't want to understand and sympathize with you. So those are red flags. So the last piece of advice: you cannot constantly tell a woman to surrender, right? Be in her feminine, relaxed, receptive energy when she doesn't trust where she's being led. Okay, so think about that. Surrender without trust isn't femininity, it's vulnerability without protection. If I constantly have to remind you, manage the finances, constantly have to make important decisions, plan everything, handle everything, every emergency that comes in, when I have to be 10 steps ahead as a woman, as a female, when I have to regulate your emotions, the man, then how am I supposed to relax? How am I supposed to be in my receptive feminine energy? Because like I mentioned in my live video, that you are the female, she cycles with the moon. Her menstruation cycle is like the exact like the moon. And so her womb is the creative force. It's the creative energy that brings life in. So she can bring abundance in. She can manifest blessings. She can bring opportunities in for the male if he is honoring her energy and letting her be in that power state, in that abundant state of mind, right? The nurturing, the one that always prevails, right? Because the male, the mother, she creates, she brings the womb. Even though we need the sperm, we need the seed, she is cultivating this human being in her body for 9 months. She is the portal from the unseen to the seen. So whatever you want in your life, it all comes down to how you treat the woman, the matriarch, the female, the womb in the home, right. So the little girls don't have it yet. No, the mother, the female, the archetype, she brings the unseen to the seen. So honor her, because whatever you want in life is going to come through her womb. It's going to come through her energy fields, right? Men can obviously find opportunities, but trust me, when you honor the female, you're not misogynistic, you respect your other partner, the female counterpart of you, you will have more blessings. You'll have more awareness. You'll have more connection to self. So yes, guys, hopefully that helped you out, even if it's just a little bit. If it gave you some idea, some self-awareness, that is, that's all I'm here for. Just to end it on this note, grounded masculine presence creates stability, creates consistency. So consistently being there, consistently, providing or being the caregiver if they have to be, whatever role you're taking on, whether it's long-term, short-term, whatever you choose in the relationship, you're consistently doing that, right? A grounded male also needs direction. Okay, because the female can't constantly be planning out every single move, being 10 steps ahead. That's going to put her in a survival mode, in a masculine mode. Okay, so a grounded masculine figure will take care of the direction, will lead the way. They will take accountability, they will take on the protection, and they have to have emotional discipline, because if the female is always correcting you, always trying to handle your emotions, you're putting her in a survival state. So, grounded men, have a hold on your emotions. Don't always depend on the female to provide that for you, because she has her own hormonal regulations that she needs to pay attention to. So, yeah. Bye, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.